an interesting input that I got some days back. There's an owner who's told the brand that, look, I wanted to take a negative hit on reimbursement fees this year to be carried forward to next year and to be shaved off from next year's incentive fees, subject to, of course, they're making incentive fees next year. Love to hear your thoughts on something like that. Would you look at something as creative as that to negotiate with your current brands? Nirupa, do you want to comment on that one?
I mean, the thing, we did speak to our operator partners and we did ask them, I don't know what he means by negative fees. Like, does he expect the operator to pay the owner for a short period of time or tide over the loss? But we did speak to a bunch of the operators and we asked them if they could avoid taking their base management fees for the year. But, the operators themselves, and while these are large international players, they did kind of share that they have their own stresses that they had to manage as well, and that would not be possible. So currently there's pretty much they're only getting their base management fee, which I think is okay because it's in line with their with the risk appetite that they're taking. I mean, I can't ask people to work. It's like asking people to work for free, which not everybody would be okay with. Maybe some people are okay with that. So, but there could be other costs that they could sort of waive off or reduce. Maybe a marketing fee, if any fixed marketing costs that they are able to save on their end, if they could transfer that back to us, that could help. But eventually what we're talking about is 10% of the top line or 8 to 10% of our total revenue, So I don't think the idea is to get nitpicky, and the idea, because all these kind of questions just sort of lead to unpleasantness, or it could potentially lead to discord. And right now that's not what we need, right? We need to work as synergistically as possible. Anyway, nobody's making their incentive fees for a while. But obviously, like if there is a way to sort of reduce fees on the owner side, on the operator side, both parties should work as closely as they can to do that.
I want to leave the next 60 seconds free for anyone else that wants to step in on this question.
I'll take that, Mr. Sethi.
Go ahead, Parikshit. I think on you.
No, that's Omer. I think, this negative fee is only going to solve a cash flow problem. It's not going to solve the main problem. The problem we have right now is revenue. So we need to be, instead of running after the brand and saying, boss, you take a haircut on the incentive fee, which doesn't exist, we need to run after them and say, you get me the revenues. I think that's the first problem that we need to do. We need to understand that this is a marriage of sorts. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. And that's where all brands have to understand, and we need to understand that as well. When the going was good, the hotels were doing well. Not once did we reach out and say, boss, I'll pay you more. We never said that, you've done a really good job, we'll pay you an extra incentive fee. So why penalize them for something that's really, really not their problem? We are in this together. We need to manage the problem. We need to lean on their experiences. We need to lean on them and say, listen, tell us what are the best practices we need to do. And so that when we recover, you're the leader in the comp set that we are in. You can't have a wife who has a headache every night. I mean, you need to work this as a pair, as a couple, as a relationship, and you just need to tide this over. This is just something that neither of us have bought onto each other.
So Omer's consumed most of the 60 seconds that was available, but I'll allow one more input from anyone.
My apologies.
I just want to know what pill Omer will give to his wife if she has a headache every night.
Viagra.
But my question is that isn't managing the cash flow also a very big issue? I mean, if today we've got a moratorium from the government, it's meeting our cash flow issues and sorting it out a bit. So if the brand is able to push the fees that they take from us to probably a year forward, I mean, whatever discount they give on fees, they could probably top it up in probably after 12 months. It'll definitely help. I mean, it's probably looking at the revenue side as well as managing our cash flows. I think it's a combination, of the two. The revenues, anyways, the brand will push to get, because at the end of the day, they're getting a percentage of revenue. But they have to do a little bit of, support to us as well. Cash flow is very important in this particular. Every penny saved is penny earned, right?
Just a quick good news is that actually we have been getting credit notes for our NOL and we can offset it in the good times. So that's a great gesture from the operator from our perspective.
Thank you, Ranjit. Sonica will take the next question. Yes, go ahead, Parikshit.
If we have a clawback mechanism with a minimum set fee, this can be achieved. Contractually, this is practiced in many geographies, so this can be achieved.
Would you like to elaborate a bit on that?
So what I'm saying is, if you have a contract in which you pay a base minimum fee, even the base fee is also cut to half. So if you earn in excess, we plow that to a deferred period and we give it to them. So which means in difficult times you are together with us. In heydays, we pay you more. So it's very transparent. There is no sense of uncertainty. And why brands are difficult? Because they have IFRS accounting back in US and other places, where if you have this written and the income is deferred, their finance guy will not come back to them with problems. So we have also got to look at their stock, their listing issues and other things, so that we have a composite solution. Perhaps. That's from me, Sanjay. Thank you.
Sonica, if you were to make your next investment in hospitality, which segment would you be investing in? Sorry, you're on mute, Sonica.
Can you just repeat your question, Sanjay?
Yeah, so what I was saying was, if you were to make your next investment in hospitality, which segment of hospitality would you make your investment in?
Well, I think looking at the macroeconomic and the kind of microeconomic situation which exists of shrinkage of consumption across board, and thereby it's going to affect the kind of propensity to pay in hotels. I would reckon the most exciting segment to probably grow in would be the economy and the budget, as I look at it, and I think it's a no-brainer right now. And probably I would get some support from the government also, as I said previously, on the MSME side. So that helps me on that side. And from the customer side, which is the guest side also, it fits into their budget and their wallet. So I think it works well from both the areas. And from owners also, it'll give me a better ROI basis the kind of investments I put in and the kind of revenue projection and I'm able to get out of it. And doing a kind of a no-frill operation, it also fits with the brand's prerogative, being a budget hotel.
So does anyone else have any input on this? Or is everyone still on wait and watch mode before they even come in on a home like this?
I come in very shortly, Sanjay. Destination resorts, clean environment, luxury wellness. That's what I'll put my money on.
That is short and sweet.
I agree. I would probably look at wellness as well,
Wellness.
if I had to.
JB, any thoughts from your side?
Yeah, we are just continuing the space we are in. We believe it's got a lot of legs and great opportunity. So we'll stay in the smart economy side.
Parikshit, you were saying something.
We have got a bit of a deep root in wellness and wilderness, and one of our investment has got an international COVID, related wellness award. It means it's a part of the healing process. I think wellness and wilderness. And secondly, something I'm personally involved is investing in technology to promote domestic tourism based on moods of customer is something which I think is the next era. Which means you judge a customer's mood and you design a holiday for that customer so that he does not need to spend 3 hours looking for various size options and all those things. I think that is the path of innovation where if we invest, we'll be able to bring customers.
Thank you. So, quick connected question on this. So, if, given that every crisis has an opportunity, do you folks see opportunity in this crisis? Maybe M&As, maybe quick wins, maybe new verticals, new revenue streams. Anyone can feel free to jump in on this one.
I think it's a great opportunity right now because, if you look at a lot of supply of hotels from asset reconstruction companies are coming forth. and because of the underlying mismatch of the cash flows. And I think it's a great opportunity right now if your balance sheet has the free reserves for actually acquiring those hotels and basically topping up your ROIs phenomenally well. Because a lot of hotels are already running with stabilized cash flows at the gross operating level are coming at probably discounts of about 30 to 40%. So you basically go pretty high on the life cycle of the hotel and yet get them at very good discounts, and thereby the ROIs are very good. So I see that as a great opportunity. If you've got monies, it's time to actually buy hotels.
Thanks. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I could go on that. Yeah, I think, everybody's talking about this recovery period of the next 12 to 18 to 24 months. And because of that, a lot of people who were potentially planning hotels have sort of put their plans on hold. And I do believe that when the recovery does kick in, owners like us will sort of see the benefits of that, because there will be a mismatch in the supply and demand. So potentially, I do think that maybe 2 to 3 years down the line, there will be larger demand than the supply, because supply would have sort of been stalled or slowed down for the coming next 2 to 3 years. Apart from that, there are very interesting opportunities coming up. Like obviously, there are InBits where hotel owners can sort of come together. So you can have co-sponsors of multiple hotel owners to come together and actually create a large InBit platform, which I think is kind of interesting.
Thanks. Ranjit, the question to you. Do you guys see the potential opportunity of buying over whatever's left in the hotel industry?
I think you made the last purchase in Pune. Beat us to that.
Terrible time.
But I think there's a reality check for all promoters, people who are in real estate business, where hotels is not all glory. There are tough times, and we do get hit first. So it might be a bit hard to get everyone to start investing again in the same segment, in the same city. I think we'd like to spread our chips a bit, and like Nirupa said, health sector, wellness is something we are looking at. I think we should enjoy some resorts as well while we can, enough of business hotels. So we are looking at that kind of expansion.
What about you? Do you see some strong opportunities in the market from an acquisition perspective?
Absolutely. I used to always think that it'll be the third owner who will make money because the prices will always be unrealistic when the seller wants to sell his asset. And I think this whole COVID has escalated the whole process where we will get realistic prices and there will be distressed assets which we can easily, we are open to picking up at the right price for sure.
Omer, you're clearly very excited about opportunities, right? You got a money bag.
No, on the contrary, Sanjay. On the contrary, we actually don't see too much of opportunity here. And I think what we are seeing as opportunity is our ability to manage this problem. There are a lot of predatory deals to have. That's not something that we do as a company. We feel it has no soul and it's not our cup of tea. We like to be fair in the deals that we do. I think the one thing that we are able to do is that the brands are agreeing to a zero-based costing now. They're listening to owners. They have very little choice but they're listening to us. And then one possible opportunity or benefit of this could be the reduced or truncated inventory that will come out in the immediate future. And hopefully the hotels will be able to survive and recover a lot quicker than if we had all the inventory coming in and opening as planned in Feb.
Great. JB, Parikshit, any thoughts?
Yeah, so, I think we'll just continue to keep doing what we are doing. We seem to believe we've perfected the model and we'll keep sort of fine-tuning it. But I think there are other issues that we need to deal with as an industry. The environment must be sort of conducive to do good business. Sonica talked about interest rates. We are an overcapitalized industry in India. And we are also a sub-$100 industry, which means we do not have enough demand drivers out here, which means we really need to work on policy. Somebody mentioned earlier in the talk that the owners are not getting a voice. I think the policy of creating, a building supply, the FSI laws, the interest, the GST on buildings, if you actually put it all together, Sanjay, there's almost a 25 to 30% inefficiency. The parking norms, by the time you start to build a hotel and you sort of compare it anywhere else in the world, we are at least 30% more inefficient. And when you look on the other side of the food chain, where the demand comes, we do not have a sort of an event-based sort of demand funnel. Look at Germany. They get 4 million people just from their trade fairs and so on. Even Singapore gets 500,000 people just because of Formula One. It gives them $1.5 billion of revenue. And we all know there are enough examples like that. So I think we all need to work together with the government on the supply side, on building the right conducive environment to build. Land is going to get scarce. The macro trends show we will have a couple of big mega cities in India within the next 10 years. There's not going to be enough land to build all those, relief areas around buildings which are not required anywhere else in the world. And at the same time, work with the government to create, even something like the Europa Park brings in 4 million people. I mean, does India or a place in India need a Disney World? I think these are areas that we need to focus on the industry to make our business efficient on the supply side, as well as build in enough demand generators to keep the industry sort of moving forward.
JB made a very important point. Owners' voice is absent from a lot of the advocacy and policy issues. Also, I think one problem that I've noticed is that we're largely absent from the large national level associations of hospitality, at least not on the executive committee levels. So HAI, FHRA, HI, FAID, there's very, very few of us that actually, sit on those executive committees. Sometimes that can be detrimental for us because it's only largely the brands and largely the Indian brands that represent the industry. We need a variety of inputs, and therefore I think it may be some, an effort that we can all make to be more active on that front. I'm going to switch gears now, just to take the monotony out. So I'd requested all of you to keep some pieces of paper ready and some markers. These are simple questions, exactly what we were discussing a little bit earlier, but just because so that all of us can get inputs in, everyone's going to put up answers simultaneously. So the first question, I'm going to warm up with these first couple of questions here. We'll make it quick, Bhuvnesh, so you get some time. When do you see traditional segments of business start to showing some tractions? Could you write the answer and just put it on in front of your camera? Give me a month and a year, or a quarter and a year is fine also. Q1 22. Parikshit, we'll deal with financial years here. Shall we deal with financial years, Indian financial years? Just so that we have common. 6 months, JB, thank you. Omer says quarter 1, 2021. I'm guessing that's January to April, March quarter.
Last quarter 2022.
We can't.
मरवा दिया बहुत जब तक none of us will be there.
Nirupa says
Sonica,
October to
Q2
December.
2021.
Sonica, can you put your paper back on the screen so I can read it out?
Q3 is Nirupa.
I'm guessing you're talking about the April to June.
I was here.
Mix up.
Parikshit,
Parikshit was on the calendar year quarter again.
Yes.
Parikshit, दिखाओ. Oh.
I'm talking about pre-COVID times.
I'm
Yes.
saying, yeah, reasonable,
Additional-
normalcy. Next question. When do you see portfolios? Next question is exactly there, Ranjit. When do you see your portfolios reaching the 2019 revenue and EBITDA numbers?
It's pretty much my same, I think.
Yeah, that's the question that I had next.
2019.
When do you see calendar year 2019 numbers being Q2 22? So you're saying normal Sonica by Q4 22, Parikshit says 23, Omer says Q2 22, and JB says 18 to 24 months. Nirupa says financial year 23. Ranjit had the same answer. So these are the warm-up questions. Now slightly.
So are these guys pessimists or they're realistic?
No, these are realistic, I guess. People are talking about 22, 23 period.
If it doesn't happen by then, you will have nothing left to talk about.
We won't be having this conference again. Right? There will be an operating community that may survive this. Now, I'm going to go to the brand side, and please feel free to give your general opinion. Don't go brand specific in your portfolio of brands. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being highest, how would you rate your brands that work for you, operate for you, on agility, on health and safety protocols?
And 10 is the best. Am I right?
The best, yes, 10 is the best. 9, 8 to 9, 8. 8.5 from Ranjit, 8 from Parikshit. Sonica's got a 9. So very, they've done a really very good job on that, clearly. How would you rate them on revenue protection? Given the environment that it is, what sort of market share were they able to grab? Omer, question mark. Thank you so much for that answer. We truly appreciate the transparency. 9 JV, well done. 6, 4, 6.5 to 7. Ranjit, did you have an answer? I must have missed it.
Yeah, no revenue, but I'll still give a number.
Yeah, so I'm just saying within the market that's available.
Ranjit, see that?
5.
Okay.
5.
Cost management, I'm sure they've made efforts on that. Let's hear it for them.
Quite a message Sanjay is sending. Huh?
7,
अरे classroom में डाल दिया हमारे को.
8.5. Yeah, you asked the question.
I guess
We gave you a very straightforward answer.
I'll give the credit to myself because we manage the hotel.
Okay, a round of applause for Sonica's team. 7 Parikshit.
She's rating
Ranjit got
herself.
9 because he got his base fees waived off. That's why.
So Sonica's done a small one.
The next question is quality of engagement with the owners. Where would you rate your brands? Nine.
No.
JB says 9, 8.5 Nirupa. You're working in decimals. 8 to 8.5 over 7 Parikshit, 7 Sonica. Thank you. On human resource management, I guess that's a tricky one, right, in this environment.
You know,
I
this
qualify mine because ours was more owner driven.
Sure.
So because we manage our own
9,
hotels, I would
8,
probably
8.
rate myself 8.
7 Nirupa. Ranjit, what was your score? I'm listed up multiple windows. 4. So clearly, Ranjit felt they could have a lot better job done on that. And the final question on the brand itself is advocacy and policy. How involved do you think your brand operators got involved in driving policy during these tough times?
What sort of a...
Is that a trick question?
Yeah.
Assistance to the government, state governments, your excise fees, your property taxes,
Oh,
your electric
not internal policy.
government policy. Yeah.
Government is only 0. What are we going to rate?
Effort. This is about effort. Outcome.
Trying. I think they represent it. They're
You're
trying.
talking about our effort or the government's effort?
No, this is the
Right.
operator brand effort on that front.
Government.
6, 9. Wow. Great
So
job.
there's quite a swing between Nirupa and JB.
Yeah,
No, I
and
don't
quality- So clearly we need the brand guys to get into the associations and push some policy efforts.
You know, ओमर आपने एक चीज देखी है कि इसके अंदर संजय ने अपनी कोई रेटिंग नहीं दी.
मैं भी आ रहा हूँ.
He's the moderator. He's got moderator advantage.
Yes,
He's got immunity.
Okay, a very quick thumbs up or thumbs down. I'll leave it to your creative ability to sketch that. You can even use an arrow for financial year 21-22. Are you going to survive that with some profits? Thumbs up.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, it's kind of breaking even. So how do you want me to kind of represent?
Yeah, I think Nirupa did a good way of seeing it.
Getting
Like,
a nose above the water.
Even, equal.
So it's like nose above
All right.
the water. So I'll put it like that.
Yeah, that's good. We got the message, Sonica. All right. Before we hand over to Bhuvnesh, I'm also going to give a rating, and this rating goes to the panel, outstanding panel, and to all of you.
10 on 10. Absolutely 10 on 10.
Since you wanted to give a rating.
But that would
Just
be
to
easy.
do that one thing, you made us do 8.
Should we rate our moderator also?
Yeah, I think
Absolutely, 10 on 10.
10 on 10.
Thank you so much.
He's really brought a lot of life to this
That's the
show.
moderator ranking.
Thank you, Sonica.
I only see the zero.
I can
Only see the zero.
I sort of captured the one part also. Okay, highly motivated ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for that, Bhuvnesh. Over to you, folks.
Okay, so this
Thank you.
question is from Abhishek for Omer. Omer, तुम्हारी बहुत तारीफ हो रही है. सब जगह पे तुम्हारे बारे कमेंट्स आ रहे हैं. So considering Prestige Group was buoyant about their growth pipeline as recent as February, do you see the organization continue on its original timelines on new projects, or is a realignment on the cards? Also, what are the major design changes do you reckon will become top priority going forward with new projects?
I think that the hotels that we are designing that are on the board, we are going to continue with the same timeline. Of course, it will be slightly truncated because of the 6-8 months of lockdown. But the next one that will open for us is the JW at the golf course in Bangalore, followed by the Delhi DIL hotel. And then the other hotels are all on stream. What we were under discussions with, we are going to try and see how and what kind of positionings the market would need. For instance, this heavy dependence on banqueting might need to be relooked at. And what design changes we would do, possibly, look at having how we can keep windows open, how healthy air can become easy to put into all the rooms, because today we've got these boxed hotels and it's a nightmare to try and keep the ambient air clean and COVID free and dust free and so on. So I think those we would look at how we can get fresh air in and out of the hotel, how the general hotels ambience could be a lot healthier than we had imagined it to be earlier, and possibly just design it for this kind of COVID and pandemic related occurrences.
Yeah. Okay. So there was another question on owners and operators. This writing on the paper big has answered all the questions for the gentleman who asked it. Very innovative. There's another one, which I don't know, you all may want to answer because that should be a longer one. Mr. Amitabh Kant addressed the BW Hotelier Summit today while inaugurating the show. What is your takeaway from what he has stated?
May I come in on this? I listened to that session, and as always, Mr. Kant was extremely, clear in his thoughts and very focused in what can be done, what should be done. But one thing that I thought is missing from almost all discussions when we talk about tourism and growing tourism numbers is the element of business travelers. So in all the conversations that I've heard this morning and some of them in the earlier conversations, if we were to do an analysis today on what percentage of the 9-10 million tourists that came in the past or last year, the year before last, into India were business travelers, and what percentage of the domestic travelers who use hotels are business travelers, we will realize there's a significant component of that. And as an industry, we've failed to sort of create a marketing platform for that category of travel. Now, we need to work on business visas that need to be a lot easier. You need to get multiple entry visas that can be done for long periods of time. We need to facilitate the business traveler. That is not only going to help our industry, that's going to help Forex. It's going to help the economy of the country. All this needs to be done for ease of doing business in India. And that's mine.
I'll go next, Bhuvi. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Taken up too much.
Yep.
Tourism is 9.2% of GDP. It's not an industry that anyone can ignore. It's going to drive. if anything, it's going to drive the revival of the country. It's going to drive the economies. It's going to do that. So it's something that we need to invest in. And I think that, it's not about getting benefits or subsidies. It's about enabling us to achieve the kind of numbers that we need to, both in terms of employment and revenue. But one thing that took me back about Amitabh's comments today was that he qualified all his comments saying, this is my personal opinion. And I wish that this was the opinion that he could represent of the government, because then that would give me a lot more confidence. Because by taking that away and saying this is my personal opinion and the government is not talking that language, it's a cause of concern for me.
JB?
Well, I'll go. I think my takeaway.
He's your schoolmate.
Yes, he is indeed. And I mean, my takeaway was that he touched upon the rules of engagement with the government. And I think for us that's a big one in the sense that to make the environment conducive, we can't just sit here and imagine that the government will think up of something. And I think going for, and he said that before at another event we were together, and recently, I think it's about a month and a half ago, we sort of did some work on policy with the government, and we spoke about a few things, and he said, I never knew that this was such a big problem. And again, I come back to how we as owners, and right in the beginning, Sanjay said, we are representing a bunch of people who are putting hard money sort of into this industry, and it's very ironic that we don't have a voice. I think that came out strongly. He alluded on that today. I think we should take that and we should ponder on it, and we have to do that. We're just putting so much money. We need to get the supply thing sorted out. We need to get all this policy working, and we need to make sure that we help and counsel the government on demand drivers and the impact that they will have on the industry. So for me, that's a big take, and that's an area of interest for us. I think as an organization, we need to build on that more.
I wasn't in that session, so I can't comment on it.
No, that's okay.
So I wasn't either, so apologies for that.
So that be that. So it's so that part of the session. So it's done on an editorial online. There are a whole lot of tweets, and you could play back and watch that session. It's there on our online and our Facebook. So it's a very interesting session. He came out and he spoke quite a bit. He also said various parts of this industries, they are represented by various bodies. They need to come together under one umbrella. And he said, I would be there. JB, correct me if I'm wrong, Sanjay. He said, I would be the first one to come and support you guys and take up your cause. And he also said, sectoral support has not started as yet. Once sectoral support starts, then hospitality, travel, tourism, and F&B would be the first ones to be looked at and covered. Am I right, JB and Sanjay?
No, you're absolutely right, Bhuvnesh. And if there's anybody in the government who's a great advocate for our industry, who actually understands our industry, it's Amitabh. We know that. I mean, look at it only recently when we were talking about the whole moratorium. For the building sector, I know some of you are in the building business. Alternate investments funds have been created, and the government can stay out of it, and funds can come in, and they can sort of choose who they wish to give out money. We have not been able to make such robust representations to the government as an industry, and ask for different funds. We put in a proposal that bypass the banks and lend out at repo rates and have a kind of a build out as we move forward. All these subjects are not being spoken about by any of the associations, and therefore I think there's a lot of merit there.
So I think it's time we have to cap the session. Sanjay, would you want to say a few words?
Oh, no. Well, thank you for a lovely session.
It's amazing. Sorry, you were saying something, sir.
I just said thank you for a lovely session to all the panelists. Bhuvnesh, congratulations. I think we managed to close it on time. So some marks to
Yeah,
contribute for that.
sure do. Thank you all. I'd start with the ladies. Thank you, Nirupa. It's been wonderful sharing space with both of you, and Sonica, you as well. Great session. I loved it. And I shall start with, I'll come to Omer and Sanjay the last. JB, thank you. JB is my junior from school, right? We go back to the same school. And Mr. Kant was our senior. Parikshit, thank you so much. We missed Binodji, but this is most needed for him to rest. And you bring in a great perspective. Ranjit, my naughty friend from Pune, a fellow Delhiite. Thank you, my friend. And Omer. Omer is he also has a side, but amazing perspective, Omer. You have so many comments coming for you on the social media. You should come over there. Thank you for all your...
I'm not on social media, but a great job, Bhubanesh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Omer. And Sanjay, what a grateful session. Brilliant moderation and a very balanced view. Permit me to thank you all. I thank you for sharing the space and making BW Hoteliers EHA, the 5th EHA, very special. Thank you for this wonderful session. And look to see you. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Bhuvnesh. Thank you so much. Thanks, Sanjay.
It's a pleasure. Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. Good job, Sanjay.
Thank you,
Keep it.
Sanjay.
Mr. Sethi. Good job, Mr. Sethi.
Yeah, excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Sethi.
Excellent job. Yeah. See you all soon on ground.